Good day, explorers. It's Mr. Rinehart from Miss Bianchi's kindergarten class. I hope you all are staying safe and staying healthy and hopefully enjoyed a wonderful spring break. I'm going to keep with our theme of nonfiction by talking about something that has to do with transportation. What is transportation? Well, it's how we get from one place to another. You could walk, you can ride a bike, you could take a car, a bus, a train, a boat, or, my favorite, airplanes. Today we're going to talk about airplanes. How do airplanes work? How do they get up in the air? Have you ever looked up at an airplane flying over and wondered to yourself, how is that thing doing that? Let's take a look at how airplanes work. Okay, more specifically, we're going to talk about propeller planes, not jets. What a propeller plane does is much like what a fan does. This grabs the air and pulls the air back behind it and speeds it up. This is what's called thrust. These are the two important things to get an airplane going is thrust and lift. What thrust is, have you ever heard an old tale about pirates and Blackbeard thrust his sword forward towards the enemy? You know, it's moving forward, it's pushing it forward. So thrust is all that wind with an airplane, is all the wind behind it pushing the airplane forward. I'll kind of give you a little example here as carefully and safely as I can without rolling it off the table. See if I can get the airplane to move forward just a little bit. See how it's pulling the airplane forward? That's because it's grabbing the wind and blowing it behind it, and it's pulling the airplane forward. So let's watch what happens to this little piece of paper when I put it behind the propeller. How much wind do we have? We have no wind up here. But look how much wind happens behind the propeller. And there goes the piece of paper. Bye-bye. So that pulls the airplane forward, and the faster that spins and the more powerful it spins, the faster it pulls the airplane forward. And then you get what's called lift. It's a cushion of air flow under the airplane. You ever ride your bicycle and you go downhill really fast and you feel the wind suddenly gets really intense and it's blowing on your face and your eyes are watering and your hair is blowing all over the place? But if you're pedaling really slow on like level ground or trying to go uphill, you don't really get a whole lot of wind, right? Well, that's the same thing. You're moving forward. You're increasing that airflow. So that creates a cushion under the airplane that helps to lift the airplane up and the airplane comes off the ground. Now, there's some other important things that an airplane has that helps control that. Like, how does an airplane turn? You know, take this little airplane. How do we turn and go like this? How do we do this? How does the airplane climb? How does it drop down? It's called flight controls. And one of the important ones is back here on the tail of the airplane. This is called the elevator. If a pilot pulls back on the flight controls towards them, the elevator goes up. If you push it forward, it goes down. So what does that do? When this comes up, all the wind that's blowing across the tail hits that and pushes it down. Now you've got the plane doing this, which is called lift, and it's pitch. This is called pitch, when an airplane points up or points down. We use some math terms. Negative pitch goes down, just like negative numbers are less than 0. Positive pitch, you're increasing your altitude, so your numbers are going up. So this would be positive pitch. And if the nose drops, that's negative pitch. So the flight controls help the airplane to go, I'm using this one because it's easier, to go up or down. Now, how does an airplane turn? This is called roll. It has what's called ailerons, which are out here on the ends of the wings. On both sides, you can see if I... And it does the same thing. This one's up, so the wind's going to hit it. What's the airplane going to do if it's flying? It's going to tip this way. And if that one goes up, it's going to tip that way. So that's what we call roll. Now, there's another thing too that you don't see airplanes do a lot of in the air, but you do on the ground, which is like steering. This is called yaw. And how this works is from a flight control on the back, on the tail again, called the rudder. Same thing, if I have it this way, the wind's going to hit it push the tail that way. If I go that way, the wind's going to hit it on this side, pushes the tail this way, and that's what's called yaw. Now there's another little feature on this particular airplane called flaps. Right here, these little things.
Takeoff flaps. Landing flaps.
That's my transmitter that I control the airplane with, and it talks. So when these are down, like it said, landing flaps. What this does is it doesn't make the airplane drop. What it does is it actually slows the airplane down and creates a big cushion of air up underneath here, which it's called drag. When you slow an airplane down, it's dragging it. And that bigger cushion of air helps the airplane to float a little more. So you're slowing the airplane down and giving it a little more lift, actually. So the airplane will slow and kind of do what we call ballooning. Sometimes with an airplane, you put flaps down, the airplane wants to go up like this. So that's what that is. You really use those on landing. You can use a little bit, and you're taking off. You use a good bit when you land. If you ever watch big airplanes at an airport coming in for a landing, you'll see those big flaps hanging down on the bottom of the wing. That helps to slow the airplane down, but keep it from falling out of the sky. So they can keep a little power on to keep that thrust. So all that is how an airplane functions. That's a lot of stuff to remember. Thrust, lift, that's what the main things that get the airplane off the ground. And then you have your ways you roll, you turn the airplane. That's roll, this is pitch, and this is yaw. Yaw is controlled by the rudder, on what's called the vertical tail, this piece that goes up and down. Pitch is controlled by the elevator, which is on the horizontal tail. So that's vertical, that's horizontal. Roll is controlled by the ailerons on the ends of the wings. And then flaps, that's a little more involved. So those are some basic stuff, basic features of an airplane. Might be a little bit much to understand right now, but what we're going to do next is we're going to go out to the flying field with another airplane of mine that does all kinds of cool stunts, and we're going to see just how all that stuff works. When I move the flight controls, what does the airplane do when it's in the air? Well, let's go have a look. Okay, let's get this airplane in the air and see what happens. Okay, so let's see if this works. If I pull back on the stick, the elevator will go up, which should make the airplane go up and do a loop. Okay, loop. Okay, cut. Now if I push it forward, it should make the airplane dive, or do an outside loop, we call it. Now, if I want to make the airplane turn to the left or roll, left roll, left turn. Now, if I want to make the airplane turn to the right or roll to the right, right roll. All right. Whew, that was a long video with a lot of information. But hopefully you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. That was a lot of fun. Until next time, you all have a great day and enjoy the weather. And we'll see you later, explorers. Mr. Rinehart saying bye-bye.